Hi, I'm here with Italian glass artist Caterina Zucchi. Welcome. It is finally a pleasure to meet you in person. I say this because Caterina has a history with the IBG. She's been a participant since 2019, so now for the third time. In 2019, she generously donated her piece Light and Shadow to the IBG collection. We are very thankful for that. In 2021, she participated both individually and with a collaborative work made with the Murano master Lucio Bobacco. And this year, thanks to the support of the Italian Cultural Institute in Sofia, we have her here and we have a work by her and also by Lucio Bobacco, who is there in the background. Welcome, Caterina. 3 consecutive participations. You had the chance to also see us grow throughout the years. So I'm curious how you saw the IBG development. What has been your impression, your thoughts?
Well, I saw the IBG growing, and I'm so happy because it's a huge collection. There's a lot of different artists. I think it's like a brainstorming for artists because we can meet each other, and Biennale is growing so well. I think artists needs a place like that to meet each other and have the possibility to create new collaboration, new spark of inspiration. So I believe strongly in the Biennale, and
We're very thankful for your interest and support throughout the years as well. And we will be able to learn more about Caterina's art tomorrow during our first day of lecture program. So register now if you haven't already on IBG Connect. But Caterina, give us a little teaser. Tell us a bit about your monster necklace that we have over here.
I did this monster necklace because usually I do the opposite. I try to make something nice, balanced, in harmony, and beautiful. But I wanted to make something ugly for the first time, or try to do something ugly. Think on opposite, just to push the limit of my technical skills and my vision about glass body adornment. I like the way the volumes interact with the body silhouette, and how can play with the body of the person who wear it. And I think it's fun. To me, it's like a dream. It's something I've never seen, and I'm trying to make it real. So it's something fun to me, and I hope you find interesting.
Thank you. And what are your quick thoughts about the exhibition so far?
Well, I think it's amazing. There are a lot of different art pieces, very challenging. I can see the effort of the artist and the designer. Some pieces are really crazy, and I don't know, but I think it's stunning. It's a very good selection, really.
Thank you, Caterina. And we look forward to hearing your lecture tomorrow. Hi, I'm here with Canadian glass artists Karina Guévin and Cédric Ginart. Thank you. And we have this spectacular flame-worked chalice, reminding of the 18th century Venetian tradition. Would you tell us a bit about this work and your creative approach, both separately as an artist and in collaboration?
We are both flame workers. Cédric is a scientific glassblower, and I'm an artist flame working. And we put our heads together many years ago because we really wanted to work together. And the thing that we were interested to, I'm very interested in sculpting, and Cédric is more interested in blowing pieces. So we took our 2 skills and mixed it together and find an aesthetic that we really enjoy, and also that helped us to learn flame working. So we practiced a lot of Venetian techniques over the years, and we put everything we know to build that kind of work. And we are mostly interested in fairy tales because it's something that we found that bring us together, because Cédric is from France and I'm from Canada, but because we are French, we actually have the same fairy tales, even if it's 2 different countries, which is amazing. So we start like this with fairy tales that we know. that we knew. And then when we start traveling and teaching a lot of glass, we discovered fairy tales from all over the world. And it's something that help people talk to us and bring people together, because it's always beautiful memories. Childhood memories are often happy when you talk about fairy tales. So now we make pieces about fairy tales all over the world, depends on where we're traveling. And we cannot wait to discover fairy tales from Bulgaria.
That's lovely. We would be so honored if you tried to interpret a Bulgarian fairy tale in your glass. This is like the coolest thing to me, to just travel for noble glass reasons, right? And fairy tales. And Cédric, how did you find out about the IBG, and what has been your experience so far? What do you think about the exhibition?
So far, everything has been really amazing. It's a good way to connect with people and to meet new glass artists. And everyone is really welcoming, and we feel super happy. We are thankful for everything.
Thank you very much. We're happy to have you here. Hi, I'm here with artist Barbara Kenneally from Ireland. Thank you very much for being here. And we have this lovely piece of yours over here. And I'm curious, because I read that you like to play with transparency, translucency, also photography, right? So please tell us a little bit about this work, the techniques you used.
Okay. This is cast glass, and I would use a rock from the abandoned copper mines in Palahis to make the mold. And in some way, I want people to remember the work that went into the formation of the form, the people who worked in the mines a long time ago. But also, there's a usage here of metals in the colours, so that this is to remind people that there is a search going on beneath the surface. The surface, I like to polish the surface, but there's always something going on beneath the surface. So that, the colours I would choose from photographs. I've been watching copper changing colour in the landscape for years now, for a long time, so that this helps my process with choosing the glass to use.
This is fascinating. So a lot, even chemistry goes into this in a way. Yes, and about the title, Centered.
There are two things. The piece is now centered. The piece is now centered so that you can look at it, but also it's the center of searching for the metals is a process by which mining happens, and so it's kind of multi-layered.
Thank you very much for this precious insight. It was fascinating. And I'm curious about your experience with the IBG. How did you learn about it?
I learned about it on Instagram, and through the Glass Society of Ireland. So that between them I submitted, and I was very, very glad to have been selected. So I'm delighted to be here. It's great.
We're also delighted to have you here. And your first thoughts about the exhibition, entering the space?
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Really is amazing. Superb. Well done.
Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for everything.
Hi, I'm here with Panamanian artist Poonam Chatlani, recognized widely in the Americas and now even spread to Bulgaria. Welcome, we're very happy to have you here. And I'm curious, how did you learn about the IBG and what has been your experience so far?
Yes, I've had a great experience. Thank you, Kosara. It's been wonderful. I heard about IBG from many places, from Contemporary Glass of Art, the CGS2, and I think also it was in the internet, in Instagram, and all of the groups of the Bullseye and all of the groups that I have in Instagram.
We're very curious always to learn where people learn about the IBG. So, and we have this very interesting and personal, I think, work of yours over here. Can you tell us about what inspired you to create this work?
Take Me is a piece that actually, it's the journey that we make through our hands, like being hands, like a vessel in the life. And the figurehead is actually a mascot pawn. I don't really know how do you say it in English. So the figurehead is like the guide, is the one that guides the hands throughout this journey of ours, and how the hands shape everything we do with our touch, with the gestures that we do, and that is how they conform like our destiny, at the end.
Thank you, Poonam. This is a lovely piece, and we're very happy to have it here on display. And thank you for being here once again. Hello, I'm here with Arthur van Buuren from the Netherlands, or should I call you heArthur, the nickname you chose because your heart beats for glass, right? Your work builds upon the Dutch traditions in sheet glass 3D objects from the 80s, right?
Yes.
And you say you've developed an innovative 3D glass fusion technique. I didn't want to get that wrong. Demonstrated also in the piece we have here. So could you explain this technique to us and your artistic approach?
Yeah. So in my work, I cut sheet glass, colored sheet glass from bullseye in shape, and I make a construction in a ceramic oven and fuse it really together. So it's now one piece, and that is different to the pieces from the 80s where they used kit or glue, which is completely fine, but I started making these objects as vases, and I really wanted to make an object which was really watertight, and not only watertight now, but in decades to come. So that's how it started, and since then I developed a bit more free objects. So this I wouldn't call a vase, actually. This is completely no vase. This is one of the first objects where I discovered that I could let something float. So this circle almost floats in the air. It is only held by these dark blue pieces. So, yeah.
And I'm curious, is your personal technique your favorite technique?
I'm not very much educated in glass techniques, so this is where I'm very comfortable with. This is what I know in glass. I do know a bit of glass blowing, but there are a lot of people who can do glass blowing a lot better than I do. Yeah, in a way, this is my favorite technique. In a way, I'm developing my own, I would say, new language in glass. It is sort of square and abstract, and it feels almost that everything I do is sort of semi-new, which I like. So I can just discover on my own pace new ways of working with this sheet glass, but then in 3D.
That's lovely. Your passion really flows through. I can feel it.
Yeah.
And since you introduced Selma to the IBG, how did you find out about it?
I found out of the IBG on Instagram. There were a couple of people from the Netherlands participating in probably the 2021 in the COVID times, and then I thought, that's interesting. Let's have a try and have a go. So I'm very grateful that I was chosen to participate, because it's also an opportunity to really look at the wonderful world of glass. There are really a lot of beautiful pieces here, and I think Sofia is amazing too. So thank you so much.
Thank you. We are very, very glad to have you here. And I would like to also note that heArthur, very kindly and generously decided to donate this piece to our collection, which keeps growing thanks to our participants' generous contributions. It is now home to over 135 pieces, and it keeps growing. So thank you once again. It is a very precious piece to have in our collection.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, I'm here with Selma Hamstra, an artist from the Netherlands, and welcome, Selma. In your art, you challenge the boundaries of artistry and utility, so to speak. How do you balance those?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. In my work, it's all about how glass is approached in general as well, and especially in the education sense. How does it work with mastership, for example? And I think all pieces will provoke you to think about it as well. Is a piece very well made, isn't it? And how important is it that we still have masters to work with? So in my piece, it's the same thing as well. So in the whole collections, the shapes are always the same, the outside of the shapes. So then it invites you to think about color. How is it applied? Is it applied correctly? Do I see small mistakes? And what do I think about those mistakes? So from the hand of a master, you might think that there might be less imperfections, but what do you think about the hand of an apprentice, for example? And in the stage that I was making this collection, I was definitely an apprentice, more in the glass blowing part, because my background is a designer, and it was an apprentice in the glass blowing. Later on, after that, I discovered that the glass blowing part was one side of it, but actually there is so much more to the work than the glass blowing part. It's also all about the cold working. And later on, I was able to dive into the craft of cold working as well, because the guy who is gonna, who did my cold working, is gonna retire soon. So I was like, oh, I don't really have a work if there's no good cold worker to do the work with. So that's how the journey is between mastership, apprenticeship, learning about it, imperfections, perfections, skills or not. Yeah, that's quite a big theme in my work.
So now you would be doing your own cold working? Oh.
Yes, that's a good question. If I would be doing my own cold working as well, and the answer is fairly simple. Yes, I definitely hope so. That was one of the aims that I had when I was offered to do the apprenticeship, or when we decided to do an apprenticeship together with another student as well. I was like, at least I want to know that I can make my own work and my own collection after this. But I do have to say that where I gave the assignment to the co-worker now, Albert, to make my work, I gave him like 3 days to make the full collection. Now I need at least 3 days to make one of the pieces by myself. So you see a lot of, about the mastership in that part already. Time is definitely a different thing when you're a good co-worker or a learning hand.
Yeah, it must be completely another experience to put yourself in the master's shoes, I guess. You can say that. Thank you for this precious insight. I was also curious to learn about the techniques of execution of this work. And a general question about the IBG. How did you learn about it, and what has been your experience so far, your thoughts?
Yes, that answer is simple, and I hope you're gonna watch more, but my answer is very simple. I got to know about it by Arthur. He will be introducing himself before me or after me. I don't know how that it is. But he showed it to me, and it was very nice to be able to be part of this here. It's a very nice experience so far, and yeah, I'm very curious about the rest of the time.
Thank you very much. We're also curious, and we're very glad to be bringing artists together, and that you share the word, also word of mouth. This is amazing. Thank you very much. I'm here with Mr. JanHein von Stiphout from the Netherlands, and his work is part of the Dutch section of the IBG exhibition, specially curated by Mr. Han de Kluiver, made possible with the invaluable support of the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Bulgaria. Mr. Stiphout, welcome to the IBG. Very glad to have you here. You claim to be fascinated by controversy, by the juxtaposition of opposites and seemingly incompatible materials, I imagine. So, looking at your installation, so striking in contrast and color, could you tell us a bit about its symbolism maybe, and whether it's open to interpretation according to you?
Well, controversial things are indeed one of the items in my work, and almost everything I work. Because if you make some beautiful thing, it's a beautiful thing, and it's very nice, and it's harmony, and whatever. But it doesn't make you really think. I would like to have the double layer. So you see some beautiful flowers, oh, that's beautiful. People react like that. But if you look a little bit longer, oh my God, there's barbed wire in it. There's bomb craters in it. Oh, that has the First World War remembrance. So that was not that nice anymore. So most of the time that brings you back to thinking again. And that's important for me to put in the art.
And we will be able to learn more about Mr. Stiphout's art during our lecture program tomorrow at 10 a.m. starting. You can register now on IBG Connect. And I'm curious, what was your first impression walking in of the IBG? What has been your experience so far?
Over here now, well, there's a great collection of interesting glass pieces and a good selection, very good selection. I just had a quick overview, and I even see artwork from people I normally don't see in the collections, and still are very good. So that's interesting. So it's inspiring to look at here and to see my colleagues, and some colleagues I even didn't know their works, but they're good. So that's so very interesting. If you have to travel, invited to come over here, come over there, and you're in one of the exhibitions, you meet more people. I even met someone who has almost the same ideas about making art as I have. So that's interesting as well. So and we don't know each other up till now. So that's nice, yeah.
That's very, very nice, and we're very glad to be providing you with this opportunity to meet, because our slogan is together, and we bring together artists from tens of, I was going to say 10,000s of countries, but we have 48 countries, which is still a lot. So we are very, very happy to be representing artists of all also levels of their creative, of different steps of their creative paths. So this is what we praise. Yes.
It's not just blowing or just craftswork or anything. All kind of techniques are chosen, and that's not that often. So, and installation pieces, well, those are 1,568 copies for each day of the First World War. So that's quite a work to do so, and it's not so easy to expose them, because you have to come over, plant them all, and you don't have very much possibility to do so. So I'm very happy I can do it over here.
I think this is the perfect spot for them, right now also under the sun. Yes. And one last question. Why do you think it's important to introduce the general public to contemporary glass art, both generally and in Bulgaria specifically?
If art goes around, and a lot of the art I see here has that thing in it that it opens your mind. And if you start looking at art, even if you've never done, start looking at art, see a lot, and you start thinking about things you never thought about. So that opens up your world and gives you new impressions and new ideas. And that's what art can do, and what art should do. And I hope it will, but you have to come and you have to experience it first.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And I look forward to hearing your lecture tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you very much for this, and on to the next one.
Okay.
I'm here with Mr. Lothar Böttcher from South Africa. He also takes part in the international cold working group called Late Riders, and on 7th of October, this Saturday, during our second lectures day, we will have the pleasure of hearing a presentation by him and two more representatives of the group and participants in this IBG exhibition, Ms. Ioana Stelea from Romania and Mr. Samuel Weisenborn from Germany. Thank you for being here, and welcome to the IBG. Could you tell us how you first learned about the Biennale and how you decided to apply?
Well, the Biennale, I've heard from other glass friends in the glass family before, and they have participated, so I actually applied this time around, and I'm so glad to be part of it.
Thank you. And we will hear more about the Late Riders for sure during the lecture in 2 days, but tell us a bit about how you joined the group.
The Late Riders is a loose group of cold workers, internationally linked up through our trade of cold working glass, grinding and cutting and polishing. And we recently had our first international symposium in Germany at Bildwerk, with an exhibition that's also running at the Glasmuseum Frauenau till the 4th of November.
Lovely. Looking forward to hearing more about this experience. And about your work, you play a lot with the optical qualities of glass, I see. How do you achieve those?
Well, with a lot of cold work, a lot of patience, obviously, and attention to detail, and yeah. And the glass that I'm also using, I've been fortunate to get hold of optical glass, which I predominantly use in my work. So the cutting and the optical glass lends itself so well for the sculpture.
Well, thank you very much, and looking forward to hearing more about your art and the late writers in today's. Tune in.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm here with artist Janusz Walentynowicz, who is Polish and currently based in Denmark. Is that so?
Yes, born in Poland, but otherwise, yeah, grown up in Denmark. My last 40 years in the US, now I've returned to Denmark, so come full circle.
Yes, and you've gained vast international recognition as far as I saw. And we're very happy to have you here. Thank you for coming in person as well. And tell us a bit about your work at the Biennale that we have here. What part of your artistic journey does it represent?
Well, the piece itself is a journey in itself. And I have a small series of these fish pieces with travelers, and they're all named with Greek mythological Greek names. So it is an adventure, a journey, as I see it, into the unknown. As many of us actually find in our lives, you go somewhere, your life takes you somewhere else, and you don't really know where you end up. And this is kind of that journey. And the women that on the top of a fish, kind of ready and stoically going towards that journey. That's kind of basically the thought about the pieces.
We're happy that this journey also brought you to the IBG.
Absolutely, absolutely. You never know where you end up, yeah.
What was your first impression coming in?
Really love, and I haven't really had time to go around a bit much, but I see some good friends and a lot of different avenues in glass, and that's very refreshing to see, yeah. I enjoy it.
Thank you very much. We're looking always to show the diversity in glass techniques and the various levels of artistry that can emerge from the glass material. So thank you very much for being here. And yes, us as well.